Hey everyone, welcome to a Smash Ultimate competitive crash course. If you've seen my in-depth competitive reviews, this will essentially be an abridged version of those. Similar vibe, but we aren't going to be covering every single move and aspect, just the basics here. I believe I've done at least one video on every other Super Heavy except Donkey Kong at this point, so let's cover him. And when I say Super Heavy, I mean it. DK is tied for third heaviest in the game with King Dedede, but despite this, he's a lot more nimble than that weight stat would lead you to believe. Run speed well above the median, a great initial dash distance on a pretty committal dash, fantastic airspeed stats, and a decent jump height mean that combined with his huge size, DK can be an oppressive force on stage when he is given that room to breathe. You have one of the best back airs in the entire game that puts out quick, powerful, and relatively safe pressure behind that big, fast-moving bulk. You have a top-tier dash attack that stays out for a long time and combos into other options for quick ground approaches and laning catches. In the neutral, you have long-range pokes with down B and F tilt, and a fast, recently buffed down tilt for footsies that can even trip for big follow-ups. If you knock them upwards, you have excellent anti-airs and up tilt, up air, and up smash to keep juggles going forever. If you knock them off stage, his air stats and great aerials give him a solid offstage presence despite his atrocious recovery. Most of DK's plan revolves around using his speed and meaty hitboxes to smother the opponent with overwhelming force. Your huge damage and kill confirms are going to come from his unique cargo up throw combos, landing down B hot slaps, side B berries and shield breaks, jab lock combos with down tilt or jab 1, aerial vortexes, or one of his 3 spikes. But escorting the opponent out of the club will always be a reliable way to make sure the opponent doesn't ever live too long. Here is a list of a few cargo throw combos to get you started. For more of the nitty-gritty, check out the DK Discord, which is linked in the description. This all sounds pretty promising, but the problem is if the ball ever starts rolling against you, DK quickly crumbles. Aside from a landing charge giant punch or a back air if you're facing that way, DK has no real good landing options at all. This means you will get juggled forever, especially if you already burned your double jump. You could try to use DK's airspeed to get your way over to ledge, but even if you manage to do that, DK's huge size and telegraphed animations mean you can be knocked right back out fairly easily. Once that happens, you'll hold your breath as you struggle with DK's horrible and exploitable recovery against an opponent who is all too happy to get an early gimp or spike on your super heavy character. These are all symptoms of a candidate for the worst disadvantage state of any character in the entire game. Dedede at least has fall speed and multiple jumps. Bowser has a pretty good landing there, and Dare is a mix-up. Little Mac is smaller, falls faster, and has neutral B armor to land with. Donkey Kong only leaves you with your own wits. So where does that leave him with his grading? Well, speed is going to be a 4 out of 5. Donkey Kong has some fairly decent to good movement stats, especially for his size, across the board, and his frame data is decent enough to keep up with most characters and lay down some serious pressure. Super speedy brawler types like Fox, Sheik, Falcon can break through your footsie wall easily if you aren't careful, but armor on neutral B, up B, and side B at least give him a way to meet counter-aggression on his terms. DK will never really have you thinking, I wish I was faster. Power is a 5 out of 5, easily. DK has several ways to make stocks evaporate like a drop of water on a hot pan. You've got powerful spikes, super armor burying moves, uber powerful smash attacks and aerials, giant punch, and ways to combo into all of it. Then take into account that Cargo Throw gives you a huge damage combos, kill confirms, and basically guaranteed stocks in the low 100s, combine it with DK's decent power across his entire moveset, and a 5 out of 5 is a no-brainer for him. Unfortunately, defense is getting the worst score possible. I'm talking 0 out of 5. Most other super heavies have a decent recovery or 1 or 2 okay landing options along with their bulk to at least bring them to a 1 or a 2 out of 5. DK does not. Yes, he has weight on his side, but his sheer size and near complete lack of combo breakers, projectiles, landing options, or ledge mix-ups means it's not unusual for you to simply get launched and then get juggled until you die. It may take 170%, but it still happens. And his atrocious recovery means gimps and spikes will make your weight advantage null and void. There is a reason everyone uses DK as their training dummy. Finally, versatility, which is actually getting a 2 out of 5. DK is a weird case. On paper, he should have one of the worst matchup spreads in the game, and he probably does, but his results don't reflect this. DK's sheer speed and power allow him to, in a way, brute force his way through a bad matchup or two. Regardless, you'll likely still run into matchups that will make you tear your hair out, or a player that recognizes DK's weaknesses and doesn't feel the need to respect his power. Where does that leave DK in the meta? Should you still play him? Well, I certainly wouldn't recommend solo maining the big guy, but I do feel he has a niche as a counterpick character. Not against a specific type of character, but a specific type of player. DK occupies a strange archetype as a sort of super heavy glass cannon, or maybe he's more akin to a runaway locomotive. He's fast enough that he won't be camped out as hard as the other powerhouse heavies like Ganon or Incineroar, and he can muster a lot of momentum on his side, absolutely obliterating anything in his way, and that can catch a lot of players off guard, especially in the counterpick context. However, once that train is derailed, there is almost no hope of getting it back. DK is like a barrel of TNT and should be handled with care, both playing him and playing against him. For top Donkey Kongs to watch, Chunky Kong is probably the main example and does a fantastic job showing DK's sheer potential power. For a more technical lab monster DK, there is always DK Will. Slushy from the MDVA region has a good all-rounder style DK, and finally, though he does not pull it out often, Tweaks DK shows just how devastating of a pocket pick DK can be. If this all-or-nothing playstyle appeals to you, put DK in one of your pockets to pull out when your main isn't getting the job done. Just don't expect him to top majors anytime soon. How'd you guys like this new format of character review? It certainly requires a ton less work on my end, which is good given my new law career is taking up a lot of my time. Leave a comment on how good you think DK is. Do you think he's solo viable? And if so, please tell me why. And don't forget to let me know what other character you want to see put through the crash course. Until next time, see you guys.